Hi, fight fans. Welcome back to LL Sports TV. It has to be said we've been on a good run recently, certainly as far as high profile domestic fights are concerned. I mean, I feel fortunate that I've been able to come on here most weeks and come on this platform and wax lyrical about how good our domestic fights have been. However, the fight between Jack Catterall and Harlem Eubank, which I've just witnessed, was anything but that. This was an absolute stinker, I've got to say, right from the start. The stars didn't gel. Both fighters were guilty of numerous infractions and indiscretions. There weren't many clean punches landed, constant head clashes, constant coming together. I mean, Harlem Eubank in particular had a very herky-jerky style. He looked nervous. There was lots of nervous twitching. It was very frustrating to watch. As I said, both fighters jumping into their attacks, coming together, at times rugby tackling each other to the floor. The ref was constantly having to get in the middle of them, pulling them apart, talking to them, telling them to clean up their act. And there was numerous comings together and head clashes. And so it continued. And by round 6, and by this time it was starting to get really frustrating. In fact, I could hear some of the crowd were booing and things like that. By round 6, there was another coming together, another clash of heads. This one was particularly bad. It happened in the middle of the ring, and when the fighters parted, both of them were grimacing. Both of them were badly cut. The referee had a look. The doctors had a look. They had a second look. And after the second look, the doctors advised the referee that he should stop the fight, which he duly did. The fight was stopped. The rules state that if there are more than 4 rounds completed, then the fight should be adjudicated on the scorecards. The judges scored the fight. I think it was, what was it? It was a technical decision of one judge had it 69-65. The other 2 had it 69-66 to Jack Catterall. So he was awarded the decision and he won the fight. Harlem Eubank, he looked particularly disappointed. He felt that he'd done enough to win. In fact, after the fight, he had rung onto the ring apron and put his hands in the air. And I remember thinking at the time, are you sure, mate? You know what I mean? So he thought he did enough to win. Personally, I agreed with the judges that had it 69-66 or even 69-65. I don't think Harlem Eubank covered himself in glory, to be honest. I don't know if the occasion got to him, but he didn't box well at all. He underperformed. Jack Catterall obviously struggled with his style. He didn't look particularly good either. But what clean blows were landed, I think the majority of those were landed by Jack Catterall. I thought he deserved to win. It was a bit of a non-entity, actually, a bit of a non-fight. But I do think that the right man won. So Jack Catterall was adjudged the winner. After the fight, he said he wants to go on and fight for a world title. He did seem to apologise for the messiness of the fight, which I think is fair play to him, because this was a hard watch, man. It really was. It was a terrible watch, in fact. As for Harlem Eubank, though, when he was interviewed, he seemed to be patting himself on the back and saying that he'd shown that tonight he was world class. Well, listen, Harlem Eubank is a good fighter and he will learn from tonight's experience, I'm sure. But this was not Harlem. This was not one of your better nights, man. Like I said, I don't know if the occasion got to him. He looked overeager. He looked herky-jerky. He looked twitchy. I mean, he's a bit of a herky-jerky fighter normally. What he tends to do is he's what I call a raiding fighter. He will circle the perimeter of the ring a lot of the time and then raid his opponent, you know what I mean, land 2 or 3 punches and seek to get out. When he's able to establish a rhythm, that style does work well. But tonight, nah, he was way off. Like I said, he looked extra nervous. He looked twitchy. He looked herky-jerky. I don't recall him landing too many clean punches. And yeah, I thought Jack Catterall did more than enough to win the fight. And yeah, so that's it, people. I mean, it wasn't a very good fight. Jack Catterall was the winner. He will go on to bigger things. I think Harlem Eubank can definitely come again. I mean, he is, 32 years old now, I think, something like that. or 31. But he's relatively inexperienced, and I think that inexperience showed tonight. But I do think he has enough ability to be better, although I think tonight, I think some of his limitations were cruelly exposed. Yeah, so Jack Catterall going on, and I would imagine trying to fight for a world title. I think that the division is opening up somewhat, so I think he'll get an opportunity at a belt, one of the welterweight title belts, because Boots Ennis has given up the belts to pursue title opportunities at 154, which means that there will be opportunities at 147. I hope Jack Catterall goes on to fight for one of those titles. He's been around a while. He's paid his dues. He is a good fighter, and he does deserve a world title shot. I mean, Jack Catterall should actually be a world champion, because I think it was back in 2021 when he fought Josh Taylor. He was badly robbed in that fight and should have been a world champion then. But with regards to tonight, it was an awful fight. I'm so glad actually that Jack Catterall was declared the winner and it wasn't a draw, because had there been a draw, then that means we would probably have had to see these two fight again. Eubank said he wanted a rematch. It was noticeable that Jack Catterall and Eddie Hearn swerved that. In fact, Eddie Hearn said that he will not be looking to rematch these two, and it'll be looking to put Jack Catterall straight into a world title fight. So that's all from me. As I said, tonight, unfortunately, is one of those ones, bit of a non-event. The stars didn't gel, and it was a bit of a hard watch, to say the least. But Jack Catterall, fair play to him. He gets the win, and he will no doubt go on to fight for a world title soon. Anyway, that's all from me. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll catch you on the next one. I'm out.